this, I've got this, I've got the file, I've got this, I've got. It's okay?
Okay.
Alright. It's okay. Okay, for today, we've got some news headlines to talk about. Again, welcome back to the channel where we talk about everything U.S. markets, U.S. headlines, and we're going to go into some of the charts as well. We'll talk about some of the chart patterns as well.
Is there something wrong with the live streaming?
I don't know. I'm doing the best I can.
You can start this virtual camera.
Well, okay, I don't know. Like, I've done everything 10 different ways, and it's like, I guess it's going.
Yeah, so, yeah.
But I mean, like,
when you change the account, you change the code.
I do that. I've changed 10 different codes, 10
So-
different accounts. So, you know, everything's written down here. It's like every single fucking time there's always a goddamn problem. And for example, like, you know, I know what you mean about the codes. I know what you mean about, you know, I type in the, you know, you know, I have it written down. You know, I type in the name, I type in the, you know, the public, the not for kids, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I make sure to have these in the right place, so it, you know what I mean. And then, you know, but
yeah, just when you type the code, you stop this, and then you type the code, and change the code. And then you start live stream. You start streaming. Then you go your another account, which is your after this session you go to your new account and start streaming in this procedure, just like that.
so this has to be stopped when you put the code in.
Yeah, yeah. Don't get the video, guys. Make sure.对，就是这样的。对，就是这样。就是比如说，for example, you start live stream here, and there's 就是这有个码，对吧？这个码，然后你把这个码复到这里面去，复到这里面，对，这有个码，然后你都得停止这个停，然后复制完之后应用完之后，然后再开，确保这两个开着，就是这个虚拟摄像头开着。对，这个是但是这个没开，对，对，就这个要开，这个开，对，这个要开，然后在那个账户里面打开直播就什么就可以了。基本对，现在开了，现在已经开了。Yeah, everything is good.
Okay.
You just when done the session, you just you stop the streaming on OBS, then you change the new code.
Right.
Then start the streaming, start everything again. That'll work. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, and he will help you because I'm probably doing something.
Okay. This challenge for everything U.S. markets, U.S. headlines, and U.S. reports, and U.S. Publicly traded companies. We're going to get into some headlines. We're going to do some chart patterns. We're going to do some fundamentals. We'll do some earnings, talk about PE ratios, talk about different things related to the companies, and that's all coming up. This is an educational channel. It is fun. It is not boring. We promise it won't be boring. So having said that, let's get right into it. Yes. So some of the main headlines for today. Apple's latest attempt to launch the new Siri runs into some snags. What's Apple doing? Apple's long-planned upgrade to Siri Virtual Assistant has run into snags during testing in recent weeks, potentially pushing back the release of several highly anticipated functions. After planning to include the new capabilities and operating system update slated for March, Apple is now working to spread them out over future versions. According to people familiar with the matter, that would mean possibly postponing some features until at least May, and which would come out in September. Latest hitches are part of the long and trying saga for Apple, which first announced plans for the revamped Siri in June that year. The iPhone maker showed off capabilities that would let the assistant tap into personal data and on-screen content to better fulfill requests. The upgraded Siri would let users precisely control apps from Apple and third parties via their voice. All the new features were due by early 2025. In the spring of last year, Apple delayed the rollout, saying the new Siri would instead arrive in 2026. It never announced more specific timing. Yeah. So, having said that, let's take a look at Apple right here. Dun dun dun. So, as promised, we're going to take a look at some of the tickers, do some technical analysis. Yes, right here. So, little headline here from TradingView: Apple's sales China rose 8% in January, boosted by the iPhone 17 launch, tying with Huawei for 20% market share and achieving 22% year-over-year sales increase. Yes. So having said that, let's go here. Just some of the basics for those of you joining, for those of you who want to learn something about this. This is the RSI. This is the that's the overbought, and this is the oversold line. Let me explain a little bit about this. Okay. So, for example, right here, this is overbought equals 70 or more, 70 and higher. What do I mean by that? Well, it can go much higher before it ever market corrects. And down here, this is the oversold, right here. Oversold equals 30 and lower. So oversold is 30 and lower, and yeah, so it can go a lot lower before it ever actually market corrects. And for example, let me show you what I mean a little bit by this. Dun dun dun. So for example, right here, the RSI is sitting here at about 50. 50 is very, very neutral. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look. For example, right here, between the numbers of 60 and between the numbers of about 55 and 45, basically, 55 and 45. This is very, very neutral. This is the neutral, so it equals consolidation right there, consolidation, and neutral consolidation, where the neutral consolidation is where the price chart doesn't go up or go down much, or if it goes up, it goes down the equal amount. Let me show you some more about that. If you want an example of consolidation, let me see if I can get you some right in here. Yeah, for example, right in here, that in here, that's some consolidation right there. Yeah, because the chart neither goes up nor goes down, and if it does, it's the same amount. And there's some more consolidation right there. Yeah, so yeah, there's that, and you can kind of see that in the RSI right here. Bum, bum, bum. That's the RSI, and right here. So you can see the RSI is it stays in the neutral range right there. And then actually you can see the same right here, same thing right there and right there. The chart pattern will stay neutral right there. And this is what we call, again, let me type this for you, this is called the consolidation or continuation right there. Yeah, because it doesn't go up or go down, or if it does go up and go down, it goes up and goes down the same amount right there. And then, for example, here, let's look at this price chart on Apple, since we were just talking about Apple. Right here, as you can see, the price is sitting here at $275, and right here, for example, how did we get to that point? Well, let me show you this. I'll pull this chart pattern down a little bit. Right here, you can see right here, there's a double top. When you see a double top, let me highlight that. When you see a double top usually means it's going to change and market correct and go down, which it does. Also, for example, there's a double bottom, which you'll see right here. It'll change, market correct, and go up. That's the double bottom. And then the same thing here. You have a double bottom here, double bottom there, means it bottoms out twice and then goes up, and you can see that in the pattern. Let me draw that for you. And then right there. So that's, and then another one that you can see right here is this is the head, this is the left shoulder, this is the right shoulder, and then right here is the neckline right there. So that's the neckline, and you can see the head and shoulders, usually it's supposed to cross the neckline and go down, but in this case it doesn't. It's a head and shoulders, and it doesn't actually break out. So those are some chart patterns. Let me see if I can find you a head and shoulders that does break out. Yeah, let me see here. Okay, yeah, let's go on here. I'll explain some more chart patterns on the next one. But yeah, Apple's iPhone sales in China rose 8% in January, boosted by the iPhone 17 launch, tying with Huawei for a 20% market share and achieving 22% year-over-year sales increase. So that's just some news there on TradingView about Apple. Volume-wise, it's at 51.93. Market cap is at 4.04 trillion. Also, if earnings-wise, quarterly, Q3, Q4, and Q1, Q1 of 2026 and Q4 and Q3 of 2025, all three surpassed expectations annually. 2025, for the year, earnings for 2025 and 2024 and 2023 all surpassed earnings expectations, as you can see from my cursor going over right there. So that means the health and the vitality of the company are doing good. You might be asking, why? Why are we looking at the earnings? Well, because the earnings tell you well, how much was coming in, and was it more than expected or less than expected, that kind of thing. Yeah. So also another thing that will tell you about some of the health and vitality of the company is the statements. When you look at statements, you want to click the annual button. The annual button, the last 2 years, 2024 and 2025, total revenue, gross profit, operating income, all in the green, all looking good right there. Yes. Now, let's go down here to net income. Net income, the last 2 years, 2024 and 2025. Looking at the net income, 2024 was not good, but 2025 was. So bearing that in mind, Apple looks, Apple does look pretty healthy from those parameters. Let's go on here to, let's see. For example, if you want to, you can take a look here at the, where is it? They usually have the, PE ratio. PE ratio, price to earnings ratio, is at 34.6. Let's see. PE ratios for top American tech companies. 2026 right there. As tech companies, Apple, okay, is Apple a tech company, a leading multinational, okay, so so yeah, here are some of the top tech companies. Like you have, let's see. As you can tell, Apple has a much lower PE ratio than some of the other tech companies out there. Now, what I wanted to show you here was also, if you go down to where is it? Forecast. Where is it? Forecast. Yeah, you can see the forecast. 39 analysts offer a 1-year price forecast, have a max estimate of 350 and a minimum estimate of 205. Yeah, so keep that in mind. Another one I wanted to show you was that this one was interesting. Applied Materials to pay $252 million over illegal exports to China. Just thought this was interesting. The U.S. Department of Commerce on Wednesday announced a $252 million settlement with Applied Materials for illegally exporting chip-making equipment to China's top chipmaker, Semiconductor and Manufacturing International Corporation. 2023 Reuters exclusively reported that Applied Materials was under U.S. criminal investigation for producing semiconductor equipment in Massachusetts and then shipping the equipment to a subsidiary in South Korea before sending it on to China. The shipments began, Reuters reported, after U.S. Commerce added SMI to its entity list. Okay, so having said that, Applied Materials said it was pleased it had reached a settlement with the Department of Commerce, and the U.S. Department of Justice and U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission had notified the company that they had closed their related investigations. The $252 million penalty, twice the transaction value, is the maximum allowed by law. So let's take a look at this. Applied Materials. Let's go back here to Applied Materials. Applied Materials, yeah, if you're looking here on TradingView, they talk about how it's settled for $252 million. The U.S. Department of Commerce. Well, if you're wondering what Applied Materials is, Applied Materials engages in the provision of materials engineering solutions used to produce semiconductors. The firm also focuses on design, development, production, and servicing of the critical wafer fabrication tools used for customers to manufacture semiconductors. Good. So having said that, let's take a look here. at the charts. And here's another indicator I was going to introduce you to, the MACD. Right here, the MACD crosses the signal line right there. The MACD is basically using history to make predictions about the future. So for example, but one of the things about the MACD is it's oftentimes very lagging. So sometimes it's not very helpful. Like for example, you see here, right here where it crosses, it's lagging because it should have started going up right there. Basically, the MACD, when it crosses the red signal line going up, that means the price chart going up. When it crosses the signal line going down, it's a price chart going down. Let me give you an example of that. Where is it? Right. Yeah. For example, right here, where it goes down, you see the signal, the MACD line go down right there, and so therefore, see, it's not quite. See, this one isn't lagging; it actually happens on time. So keep that in mind. Now, that's the MACD. It's just an indicator. It's just a guide. It's not a sure thing. And also it does have its disadvantages, so bear that in mind. And right here, this is the RSI. Remember RSI at 67. Remember, this is the overbought line, so you want to be watching this one, and you want to be watching this one, because this is when you're thinking overbought, oversold. Right here, it's at 68. Now look, these things can go way past overbought before they finally market correct. Right here it's at 85 right there, before it ever actually market correct. And see this one right here, the RSI, this matches right here with this. That's the 85 one right there. And then right here, where the RSI right there is at 88, that's right there also. So you see how it goes up, market corrects, and then goes up again, and the RSI follows that right on. And like I said, the RSI can go way up higher than 70 before ever actually market correcting. So bear that in mind. A couple chart patterns you might want to take note of. For example, right here, a rectangle. Here's your double bottom right there. Signals the chart pattern going to go up. And double bottom right here. Boom, boom, boom. Signals the chart pattern is going to go up. For example, let me show you this. Yeah, here's an example of a head and shoulders, but this one, put that on. The head and shoulders doesn't break out. There's the left, there's the right, and then here's the neckline, right? But it doesn't actually break out much. You see what I mean? It does a little bit right there, but not much, just very little. And then for example, bum bum bum. Let me show you some other ones if I can find them right here. Yeah, well right now let's focus on those, okay? And you see how right now the RSI is sitting here at 70 right there, 69.70, and this has, the chart pattern has corrected a little bit, so we're going to expect that to keep climbing probably, because look at these chart patterns. It's got a double bottom right here, and it market corrects right there. Okay, so that's applied materials. Let's go here to the volume wise. Volume wise is at 7.16 million. Market cap is at 269 billion, and then quarterly. Let's look at the quarterlies. Q4, better than expected earnings. Q3, same thing. Q2, same thing. Annually, if you look at annually, 2025, 2024, 2023 also did better than expected, annually. So that's looking good for Applied Materials for the earnings. Remember, again, the earnings can tell you how strong or how healthy the company might be. If you go here to statements wise, hit the annual button, and statements wise, for example, you have revenue, gross profit, operating income, and net income. And for the last 2 years, 2024 and 2025, total revenue, gross profit, and operating income were all very, very good in the green. And if you look at net income, 2025 was in the red and 2024 was in the green. Yeah, so let's bear that in mind. Yeah, let's actually see what the forecasters say about this. Forecast, boom, boom, boom. 30 analysts offering a 1-year price forecast have a max estimate of 425, a minimum estimate of 190. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. I actually don't put a whole lot of stock in it, but it's fun to see what the analysts are thinking, right? So that's Applied Materials, yeah, and the penalty on that. What about, I thought this was interesting, credit card debt hits a record 1.2 trillion. And for example, as debt balances continue to rise, according to the latest data from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the latest quarterly report on household debt and credit shows that total household debt increased by 191 billion, or 1% in the fourth quarter of 2025 to a new high of 18.8 trillion. Notably, credit card balances rose by 44 billion in the fourth quarter to a record high of 1.28 trillion. Mortgage balances grew by 98 billion, totaling 13.17 trillion, and auto loan balances increased by 12 billion, totaling 1.67 trillion at the end of 2025. Delinquency rates also saw a steep increase in the fourth quarter, with 4.8% of outstanding debt in some stages of delinquency. So my point is, this is not looking like a recovery economy, it's looking like a debt economy. So it's interesting to look at. When looking at the increase in debt, dollars outstanding, as more loans are originated, we would expect to see balances increase. However, looking at an average balance per account can give us better picture for how American households are using their credit cards. For example, the average bank card balance per account in the U.S. stood at approximately 1,890, per account, which is actually flat on percentage basis. I thought that was interesting. So, what's contributing to this higher household credit card balances? Bank found that 46% of U.S. adults who have credit cards are currently carrying a balance, often because it's the only way to cover everyday necessities. To make matters worse, average credit cards interest rates currently hover over 20%. Though the U.S. consumer debts are increasing, the good news is some delinquency rates have stabilized while others are actually falling. So what I wanted to do with this is just, it says here, if they're in their prime earning years, they've survived the perfect storm of recession, pandemic, and inflation. The cost of housing doubled between 2018 and 2024. Wait, let me repeat that. The cost of housing doubled between 2018 and 2024. The cost of a new car doubled between 2011 and 2025. Meanwhile, purchasing power grew less than 12% over that same span. That is also worth repeating. The cost of housing doubled between 2018 and 2024. The cost of a new car doubled between 2011 and 2025. And meanwhile, purchasing power grew less than 12% over that same span. Yes. It's credit cards, yeah. So for example, let's take a look here at some of the bigger credit cards. Now that you have that story, let's look at Visa. Okay. looking at Visa. Right here, this is Visa, your credit card, dun dun dun. And right now, actually, despite the despite everyone using their credit cards, the RSI right now is very, very neutral at 51, 52. As you can see here, actually, right there. This is called consolidation. Let me show you what I mean. Right here, so here, on this consolidation part, it hits an invisible ceiling, it hits an invisible floor. That's consolidation. It goes up and down about the same amount, basically. Let me type that for you just so you can read it and see it. Consolidation equals invisible ceiling, and then down here you have the invisible floor right there. Yeah, and also this is also a good example of some right here, some consolidation right here. Yeah, because see, it goes up and down basically the same amount. Now what I want to point your attention to here, this is comes down, the chart comes down here and does this double bottom, and then after the double bottom it shoots up right there. So double bottom and it shoots up. Let me give you this, because it actually, this one, for example, right here, here's a reverse head. Here's the left side right there, the right side, and actually right here, as you can see, that's the neckline, and it actually jumps up right there. So that's a reverse head and shoulders that actually does break out a little bit. Not too much, but it does break out a little bit, just enough for you to see. Let's go over here. Let's see, here's another double bottom. You can see here that it actually does break out right here. There's a nice little breakout there. And then, for example, here's another 1, 2, 3. This is actually basically a triple bottom. Triple bottom right here. Triple bottom right there, and indeed it does break out here. So that triple bottom actually does break out pretty good. Let me check to see if we're still streaming here. And we're still streaming. Connection is actually very good. Oh, it's great. Perfect. Yeah. And then right here. Let's go over here to, yeah. Well, those are some chart patterns to get us going here. I really just wanted to show you Visa because everyone is going into debt with their credit cards, but actually the chart pattern for Visa right now is pretty well stabilized, as you can see. Let's see, looking here at the volume, 8.26 million. Market cap is at 627 billion. Let's go here to the earnings. Earnings wise, what do we got here? Quarterly, Q1 of Q1 of 2026 is above expected, so that shows strength. Q4 of 2025 and Q3 of 2025 are all above expectations. Annually, 2025 and 2024 and 2023 were all above expectations. So yearly, annually, it's looking good. Statements wise, again, remember, we look at some of the earnings in the statements because that's what also helps to see the strength of the company, how much they're earning, how much revenue they have, if what they're doing is bringing in money or if they're just losing a bunch of money. So that's what this is for. So look at statements and go to annual. Annual, for example, revenue, gross profit, income, all the last 3 years, it's all in the green, looking good, right? Net income the last 3 years is also in the green, looking good. So bear that in mind. And with everybody using their credit cards and going into debt, what do they say here about that forecast? Right here is 33 analysts offering a 1-year price forecast. have a maximum estimate of 450 and a minimum estimate of 360. Yes, and they give it a strong rating right there. And that's Visa. That's the credit card. Yeah, another story I wanted to tell you about. Yeah, credit card hits 1.28 trillion. That's not a really good number, but just a little update about Taiwan and the chips. Taiwan's AI-powered economy soars in the shadow of bubble fears and China threats. For example, in Taipei, real estate is betting that home prices around a high-tech industrial park in the northern part of Taiwan's capital will soon take flight because of computer chip maker NVIDIA. The area is where NVIDIA plans to build its new Taiwan headquarters as it rapidly expands on the island, set to surpass Apple to become the biggest customer of Taiwan Semiconductor, TSM. The biggest contract manufacturer of the advanced chips needed for artificial intelligence. NVIDIA describes Taiwan as the center of the world's computer ecosystem. Let me repeat that again. NVIDIA CEO describes Taiwan as the center of the world's computer ecosystem. It's riding high on the global AI frenzy. Its economy grew at an 8.6 annual pace last year, and it's hoping to maintain that momentum after it recently sealed a trade deal with U.S. Mr. T that cut the tariffs on Taiwan from 20% down to 15%. Yes, and then let's see. But Taiwan's heavy reliance on computer chip makers and other technology companies carries growing risk of the AI craze turning out to be a bubble. So, for example, Taiwan leads in chip making, an island of about 23 million people. Taiwan depends heavily on exports, and they jumped up nearly 35% year on year in 2025, and shipments to the U.S. surged 78% due to ballooning AI demand. That's thanks largely to TSMC. So let's do this. Let's look at NVIDIA and TSMC. Let me erase that. TSM. Yeah. TSMC reported 30% year-over-year revenue rise in January. Boom. Its 30% growth forecast fueled by strong demand from NVIDIA. What's the description say on this? Yeah, TSMC engages in the manufacture and sale of integrated circuits and wafer semiconductor devices. Its chips are used in personal computers and peripheral products, information applications, wired and wireless systems, etc. So let's check this. Let's check these out here. What we got in the charts here? What's the RSI looking at right here? The RSI right here. Bang, right here is sitting here at 82, 83, which means it's very, very overbought. And then it market corrected, as you can see right. Yeah, right there you can see it market corrected. It went all the way up to 82, and then it corrected right there. And as you can see right now, the RSI is sitting here right there at a 73 right there. Yeah, so RSI is at 73. It's still overbought, but again, it keeps market correcting and coming down. So there's that. One thing I can show you here, it's not a big breakout, but let me show you this. For example, this is basically a reverse. Well, show you a better one. For example, here's your head, here's your left side, here's your right side, and then here, this is where it kind of yeah, you can see it kind of there's the left side, there's the right side, and then there's where it kind of breaks out and goes down. and then here's the neckline basically right there. So that's your head and shoulders right there, and show you this. This is basically what you might call the reverse of that. Here's your head, here's your left, here's your right, and your breakout right there, and it does go up right there. Yeah. Also, here is your right there, double bottom, and then it reverses and goes up, as you can see. And then the inverse of a double bottom, as you can see, is the double top right there, double top. So, bum bum bum. Here's the double top, bang. Here's the double top again, and you can see how both of those they go up, they peak out twice, and they come down. They go up, they peak out twice, and they go down. Yeah. So bear that in mind. But that's TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor. If I can come back to the beginning here and show you some more. For example, right here, dun dun dun. You see how the MACD. Remember we talked about the MACD is kind of looking at the future from the past. So for example, right here, the MACD cross is going down. You see how it's delayed? For example, it starts actually going down here, but it doesn't cross over until right here, right? And then right here, boom, boom, boom. So that's where it crosses here. See, it should have crossed a little bit earlier, right? But that's what I mean. The MACD is kind of delayed. Like I said, it's less delayed when there's more chart change. You know what I mean? And then let's see, look at the RSI. So those are some looks at the MACD again. If you want to see, for example, right here, it trends downward, and right here, that's the MACD crossing the signal line going down. See here, it's actually pretty well on time. It's not so much delayed right there. So again, the MACD has advantages and disadvantages, just like the RSI also has advantages and disadvantages. But remember, keep an eye. This is the overbought. This is the oversold right there. And let's take a look here at some of the fundamentals. Fundamentals, the volume is at 18.6 million, market cap's at 1.5 trillion, and for earnings quarterly, Q4, Q3, Q2. Yeah, the last 3 quarters were all above expectations, which is good. Annually, 2025, so looking at the year of 2025, it exceeded expectations, just like 2024 just missed expectations. So if you're looking for earnings, 2023 and 2025 annually exceed expectations, and 2024 just missed expectations. So that's earnings on the year. If you're looking for statements annually, revenue, profit, operating income, the last 2 years were all very good, 2024 and 2025. Also, if you're looking at net income, the last 2 years were also very good, 2024 and 2025. So bearing that in mind right there. Yeah. And again, if you want just for entertainment purposes to look at the forecast right there. Forecast. 17 analysts offering a 1-year price forecast have a max estimate of 520 and a minimum estimate of 330. Again, and a strong rating. But the all-knowing experts, right? But that's Taiwan Semiconductor. And then also talking about Taiwan Semiconductor, we should also take a look at NVIDIA. So let's do that while we're doing it right here. Right here. NVIDIA Corporation. So here's NVIDIA. For those of you who may not know and you're new to the channel, NVIDIA engages in the design and manufacture of computer graphics processors, chipsets, and related multimedia software. It operates through the following segments: graphics processing units, otherwise known as GPUs, and compute and networking. Yeah. So let's take a look here. NVIDIA can now sell H200 GPUs to China with a 25% revenue fee. Alibaba and Tencent are ready to order, while talks with ByteDance on compliance continue. So, having said that, let's take a look here at RSI is sitting here at 56, 57, and right here, 190 right there, 190, and 190 for a chart price for the price right now. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's do this. As you can see right here, the MACD is much more aligned or much more on time because there's a lot more price chart difference. Look at that right there. Boom. And then so we have right here double bottoms right there, and also we have a double top and it goes down right there. Yeah. And right here a double bottom and it goes up. You'll see that. Also double top right there. And let's see, dun. Here's your double bottom, so it goes up, another double bottom, and it staircases up. You see with some of these patterns, they staircase up when they market correct, and then they do another double bottom to go up. They market correct, they do another double bottom to go up. So that's what I want you to see from that. Yeah, and then here, where's my, hold on. Yeah. What you can see here, look at this RSI correction. Goes all the way up to 80 right there before the RSI. Look at the RSI before it ever actually market corrects right here. Yeah. So RSI goes way up and then it finally corrects. Another one right here. See how here the MACD is actually closer to being on time right there. Yeah, so that's NVIDIA. Dun. That's NVIDIA right there. Now let's take a look at some of the fundamentals now. NVIDIA fundamentals. Volume-wise, it's at 144 million. Market cap is at 4.6 trillion. Earnings-wise, Q3, Q2, Q1, all 3 quarters exceed expectations. Looking annually, 2024, 2023, and 2022, all 3 years exceed expectations. Except 2022. 2022 didn't exceed it, just met the expectations, and that's NVIDIA. So again, that looks healthy. If we go here to statements, let's click the annual button and see what their revenue, gross profit, operating income were. 2023 and 2024, revenue, gross profit, operating income, all in the green, and net income, last 2 years, all in the green also, yes. And if you're curious here, NVIDIA is at 47.7 as a PE ratio. Other tech companies are much higher for their PE ratios. Let's look here at the price forecast if you want. Dun. See the forecast. Again, I don't put much stock in this, but it's mainly for entertainment. Strong rating. 60 analysts offer a 1-year price forecast, have a max estimate of 432 and a minimum estimate of 140. So bearing that in mind. Let's see. Let's do another one while we're at it. Right here. So that was Taiwan Semiconductor. Let's take a look here at Shopify. Story is this: Shopify stock drops despite revenue beat, a $2 billion buyback. So, some of the highlights from this article. Shopify on Wednesday reported 4th quarter results that beat the top line and gave strong guidance to start the year. The stock closed down 6%. Yeah, so, yeah, look at that. Revenue is 3.67 billion versus 3.59 billion. Yeah, the 4th quarter results beat the top line and gave strong guidance to start the year. but the stock is down 6%. Um, the company missed analyst expectations for the earnings, and it forecast free cash flow margins in the first quarter that could be lower than last year. It also announced a $2 billion share repurchase program. The Canadian e-commerce company said it expects first quarter revenue to expand at low 30s percentage rate year over year, which is higher than 25.1% growth forecast by analysts. The company's board of directors also approved $2 billion in share buybacks. Let's look at this. Shopify, which sells software to help businesses launch and run their online storefronts, has tried to position itself at the forefront of emerging AI shopping tools. The company was an early partner of OpenAI when it launched its instant checkout feature. It helped Google develop a protocol for AI shopping bots to facilitate transactions across the web. The company has laid the rails for AI shopping and is poised to benefit from how it disrupts e-commerce. Yes. So, Shopify is internet infrastructure. The company's revenues were lifted by the key holiday shopping period, which saw record spending in 2025. Online spending from November 1st through December 31st increased 6.8% to 2.57 billion, beating its forecast to 253 billion. Let's see. Yeah. So let's take a look here at Shopify. Let's do that. Let's analyze Shopify. Alright, Shopify, here we are. Yeah. Let's go and see what Shopify. Yeah, Shopify is a global commerce company that provides essential internet infrastructure for commerce, offering trusted tools to start, scale, market, and run a retail business of any size. Yes. So there you go. All right, let's take a look at some of the charts here. RSI wise, we're sitting here at there 49.50, and then you can see how here it got all the way down. The RSI got all the way down to 20 before it ever actually market corrected. You know, that's reflected right there in the price chart. If you go here, right here. Here's a double bottom, here's the double bottom, and you see with that double bottom, it trends up right there. Again, let me show you another price chart just to give you an idea. Here's a basically a triple top, basically the same thing as a double top, and you can see the chart change going down there. That's a double top and a double bottom and a double top are basically inverses of each other, or triple bottoms and triple tops. Same idea. Let me give you a more fun one here. Well, anyway, hold on 1 second. Are we still streaming? Okay. Well, let me give you. Here's a. Oh, this is a nice one. It's a head right here. There's the head. There's the left side. There's the right side, and here's the neckline. And you can see it does go down just a little bit past the neckline right there, but not much. But that's the idea. So there's basically the head and shoulders, and it breaks the neckline and goes down a little bit. So head and shoulders right there. I'll give you some more chart patterns in the future, but that's a couple to get you started right there. And if you want to see how the RSI right now is sitting here at 50, very neutral, and you can see right here it starts to consolidate right there as well. Now Shopify, volume wise, is at 53.3 million, market cap is at 154 billion. If we go here to earnings, quarterly, Q2, Q3, well, let's go to annual. 2025 missed its expectations 2024 also missed. 2023 was the only year that beat. So the last 3 years, the only year that beat expectations was 2023. Otherwise, it missed expectations. And having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you, all of you, for all your comments, all your likes, and all your shares. You've been great. I've enjoyed talking with you, and I look forward to doing this again. So, yeah, here we go.